Well, hey everybody, I'm Jeff Kalin, and I'm thrilled to be helping the World Transformation Movement with a new center opening in the States. I was born and raised in the Seattle area, lived there for about 35 years, and then moved on to a couple different spots. Spent some time in Idaho, the airline pilot for a number of years, and computer programming also. And now I'm building homes in Arizona. So I saw an advertisement for the interview and was very skeptical at first because you see that stuff all the time. But something about it caught my eye, and I watched it all the way through and was pretty amazed at how important it was to me and how it really got traction with me. And from there, I went and started to read the book. It made an impact on me right away. So before coming across this information, like a lot of people, I was pretty skeptical and, and and not optimistic about our world and where it was headed and why people acted the way they did. And then once I got a handle on this information in freedom, it started to make sense. And then since then, the way people act, what they do, what I do, and how people interact together and in countries and every sort of level of organization, it starts to make sense and you understand why things are happening the way they are. And it takes a huge burden off you because you're not just a pessimist anymore. I wasn't a pessimist after that. I understood why things were happening the way they were. What was crazy for me is I've dealt with anger and anxiety and frustration with people and thinking people are idiots and all kinds of stuff for a long time, years and years and years. And I get a handle on it through various ways, including medication. And the amazing thing is how after accessing this information and kind of trying to really get it and getting it and to a certain degree and understanding it and making starting to turn and make sense, it's amazing how that stuff falls away. I almost have almost none of that anymore, and it's only really since uh, getting this information. And that's the thing to me that makes this like the proof to me. To me, freedom talks a bit about how the human condition and the reaction of soul to the human condition in a lot of ways in a certain number of people um, causes everything like autism and ADHD and all sorts of other issues. And that's what makes that really makes sense when you think of how Jeremy describes it. It's the reaction of the sensitive soul to this crazy world, especially at the young age, especially if they have very traumatic events that causes them to react this way to it and causes these issues. And that totally makes sense to me. And that's in the book, right? More than one. And I get it. I totally get it. So that it really hits home. It really does. And that's another thing that really, lends proof to me. I sort of picture young souls, like young people, because the trauma of like right out of freedom, the trauma of a brand new soul coming into the world that's expecting, um, to be treated with unconditional love and comes into the world of trauma that is our culture, and most cultures across the world. That shock of that, and and then later on in their life, a great resignation. It's kind of surprising that we don't all have autism and ADHD and everything else you could possibly think of because it's such a big shock. But I totally get why that occurs to such a number of people. One of the ways I've dealt with anxiety was med, and that's everybody here eats those. I mean, almost it's like they put it in the water here. So many people are on some kind of meds for mental issues. Well, I feel like I don't even need them anymore. And I almost, I honestly will probably not need them very soon. And I have, you know, there's a process for going off. You don't just stop. But I'm pretty close to being almost zero. And I don't, and it's like they don't do anything. I don't need them at all. I feel like I don't need them at all. And that's a really positive thing for me. So to me, gaining this knowledge has just been such a weight off my shoulders in so many ways. It's a relief from that anxiety and anger and things that tend to build up in everyday life before you have these realizations. And that's such a great benefit to knowing this information. Yeah, that's one of probably 4 or 5 specific metrics that to me are obvious examples of how this is helpful. I don't feel like I have to win all the time. Um, that was a big thing for me in identity. Everybody has ways that they get their identity, and for me, one of them was be successful at certain things that I thought were important, and one of those was getting a great deal on some project or doing something really successful by doing, winning at getting this something. And now I'm not too worried about that anymore. I don't really care that I win, but I don't get that little instant gratification either. But it then just makes me laugh because I know it's not important compared to what I do get, which is a better understanding of everything. So there's just these various things. Another one that makes it really obvious is it's very, it's becoming very, I wouldn't say easy, but it's interesting to notice people and what they're doing in their actions and relate it to their human condition. That's becoming pretty apparent to me. And so I can see why things are being done by various people or interacting the way they are. And what goes with that is you realize, I think, that virtually everything we all do, popular culture, interactions with other people, things you do on your own, are mostly an effort to cope with the human condition. I mean, everything we do, it's coping, and we, people, from everything like something you do every day to the making of a movie to everything is some person or some group of people collective effort to cope with human conditions. It's my hope that this knowledge can spread, and if it's done what it's helped me in this shorter time, if it can do that for other people, it can't be anything but positive. It's self-evident to me, and I know that it's hard for a lot of people to grasp this and to get into it and to understand it and want to understand it. But I think the more people that do, once there's a sort of a critical mass of people that are involved in this and understand this and advocate this, then I just hope to see a great increase in this knowledge worldwide. I think it can be done. I think there's a lot of passionate people involved in this, and probably more and more all the time. And I think we should just keep it going. So I'm really looking forward to opening the center in the Seattle area, and I would urge anybody to contact me in any way they can to get more information about this really important work.